This is kind of a special for us. We've got Dr. Navana Kundu with us. She's an MSc.D, internationally best-selling and award-winning author and a speaker and a coach. Her motto is how successful you are in life depends on how emotionally fit you are. So rightly said. In this session, we're going to unlock the hidden messages of emotion, harness the power of emotions to achieve rapid and lasting success and fulfillment in life. She's a master practitioner in 20 different therapies and coaching modalities, accelerating positive change and paradigm shifts in people's lives through her international talks, workshops, and private sessions. She holds a doctorate in the effects of meditation on the human mind and has won the Excellence in Meditation Award by the World Health Awards and the India Authors Award by NMCBI. Her award-winning book, Emotional Mastery, hit #1 bestseller in USA, UAE, India in multiple categories of self-help, mental health, and psychology. So with that, Navana, a very, very warm welcome. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you, Sukriti. It's such a privilege and honor to be here today and serve you all.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. But first, you've got to tell me, because I've heard a lot of people talk about meditation, but you have a doctorate. So I have to get to it, and you have to give us that 60-seconder line. What is the effect of meditation on the human mind? Because you've done a whole doctorate on this topic.
Yeah, meditation definitely has a very humongous effect on the mind, the emotions, and our physical body. And to put it in a simple way, we are all aware of our heart contracts and relax in 0.3 to 0.5 seconds, which is a 0.8 second for the entire cardiac cycle to happen, during which time the blood is pumped and it is oxygenated, it's purified. Now, what happens when we are stressed? When we are stressed, the body requires more amount of blood to be pumped in a shorter time. So instead of 0.5 seconds, then the heart does the same thing in 0.4 seconds, just a difference of 0.1 seconds. What happens in that 0.1 second, instead of an average 70 times of your heartbeat per minute, it increases to 80 times of heartbeat per minute, which means only 80% of your blood is getting purified instead of 100%. Less purification of blood means less oxygenation, less metabolism, and your body slowly and gradually, if it continues this way, it goes haywire. So meditation, it decreases your heart rate. It helps you to bring down that stress level, that anxiety level, those unnecessary worries and fears and doubts in your own self. So this has a direct effect on your physical body and, of course, the mental body as well.
Now I've got to ask this, and this is going to be the stupid question of the day. What is an Excellence in Meditation Award, and how do you win one? How does one know that you're an excellent meditator?
This is a very interesting question, because so many people say, oh, I meditate, but how do you know what am I doing when I'm with my eyes closed, right? Because most of us are like that washing machine. From outside it looks calm, but inside there is a huge tumble going on. But yes, I am a meditation coach as well. So I help people, to start on meditation journey. Sometimes you need that guidance, because otherwise if people tell you, oh, you are stressed, you're worried, just meditate, and you just sit down one fine day and you close your eyes and you expect to go into a meditative state with no thoughts coming in, it doesn't work that way. You need that somebody to hold your hand and guide you through the process. That's where I come in.
And tell us, how did you get into this? Because this was a second calling for you. Before this, you were in the corporate world, you were in the corporate structure. And after this, we're going to get all into emotions, guys. And I want to know, because she's going to ask the question, but I'll just preface it. Please tell us what you're feeling right now. Go ahead.
That is a very interesting way to start this show, I think, for all of us to note our emotions. And it's a very, very simple process. If you are willing to do, everybody, it would be fantastic. So are we all ready? Shall we go for it?
Guys, we're very quiet. Would love to hear some feedback. I hope you all can hear us.
So we can feel that energy.
Yes.
So just close your eyes. It's a very simple process. Just close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now just notice inwards. What emotion is the strongest you are feeling right now? It can be any emotion.
I'm feeling nervousness because this crowd is very quiet today.
Just don't judge it. Don't stay with your emotions for a few seconds. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to, judge it or run away from it. It can be, a feeling of boredom. It can be a feeling of excitement, anything that is absolutely fine. Now I want you to feel the emotion in which part of your body. Just scan through your body. From your feet, toes, lower legs, knees, thighs, hips, pelvic region, your abdomen, your back, your chest, your throat, arms, hands, your head region. Which part of your body do you feel this emotion? It might come like as a heaviness behind the eyes, or a clenching in the abdomen, or the gripping in the throat region, or a tightness in one of the muscles, perhaps in the legs or arms. Because your emotions speak through your physical body. Can you describe the sensations? Is it tight? Is it numbing? Is it hot or cold? Just be aware of the emotion in your body. And try to soften around it by breathing through it. Soften around the sensation. Okay, simple. Just stay with the emotions. And now place your hands gently and touch the part of the body where you feel this emotion. Very soft, caring, and gentle touch, as if you are soothing this emotion like a baby. You recognize that this emotion might be even a bit hard to feel this way. But just acknowledge this emotion, touch it softly, gently, allow it to be there as it is. Don't push it away, don't analyze, don't judge. And as you hold this emotion like a baby and you talk to the emotion, saying, I know you are here, I acknowledge you. And just breathe through this emotion. And notice if this emotion is changing quality now. Is it moving or shifting? Is this emotion strong, still there, or a new emotion is coming out of this? You can repeat this process when you're by yourself, just acknowledging the emotion, soothing the emotion gently, allowing it to be there, and telling yourself, it is okay, you are safe. If your mind gets pulled away by stories in the middle of it, it's okay. Just bring your mind back to the actual sensation of this emotion. This is how we note our emotions. And it does not take a lot of time, 2 to 5 minutes, which you can repeat many times during the day to be just aware of what you are feeling. Because what you are feeling tells you exactly where you are standing in life right now. Either you are on track or off track.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think that was good advice. So, how many times should we do this?
As many times as you wish. But I would say, like, take it like every 2 to 3 hours, take a pause moment, just take 3 minutes and note your emotion.
Very nice. Now, I was
Because you
asked,
see, Kriti, everybody's talking about mind power nowadays, right? You hear so much about mind power, but emotions come even before mind. People say mind over matter, I say emotions over mind. Even before the mental faculties developed, it was the inherent emotional, quality that made us those, hunter, our ancestors. So even if you're working a lot in your mind and you are practicing affirmations, you are saying, I'm successful, I'm a money magnet, but if your emotions are not attached to it, it's not going to work for you.
so Navana, tell us, how did you get into this? Because your journey was like a lot of ours in the typical corporate world. And then I'll hand it to you as we get into the journey of mastering our emotions.
Well, you know what? My story is a story of hope and the will to live. And many times in our life, it happens the people you trust the most, you believe in the most, you depend the most, abandon you at the time of your need. And that happened multiple times in my life. At the age of 4, my father walked out because he wanted to be a monk, and he decided that, the sansara is not for him. And immediately, though I was just a child at the age of 4, parentification happened for me. I knew that I was the caretaker of my mom. We hold such an ideal of our father and mother in our mind, but a lot of times they are so far from the ideal that we hold. And as I grew up, I realized by the age of 18, I suddenly realized one day that I do not want to be in the same place as my mom, because she had so much of pain that she was dealing with, that when you have too much of internal pain that you do not know how to handle, you externalize it. And she had a way to externalize it on me as a child. For some reason, I felt that I'm responsible for my mom's happiness. And at the age of 18, I left home, and I left that dream life, of living in the most amazing places in the world that people dream of, in Madrid, in Florence, in Milan, in Barcelona, in Dubai, in Hong Kong, because I was in search of home. Wherever there would be any temptation of finding a home, I would find myself there. And at that age, in your early 20s and mid 20s, I was looking so much for validation and recognition and acknowledgement. All that mattered to me was the outside world. Validation through my career, validation through my work, acknowledgement through my colleagues. And it was all about, walking, climbing up the social ladder. And at that time, I remember, when you think that you have got it all planned out, life hits at you. I lost my fiance with whom I was for 12 years. We were about to get married, and I lost him over a car accident. And, a lot of times when one thing's happen, it's like a ripple effect. So many other things also happen. And life didn't stop there for me. My mom had a degenerative disease of pulmonary fibrosis. And I had to come back to India, and I had to nurse her for the next 5 years. And it was like watching a death clock count down. And you find out who your real family and friends are at those times. And I lost my mother, and whoever, any of us who have lost a very dear one, a closed one, that no amounts of word can describe that pain, the process. And no matter how much you're prepared for it, you are having a lot of spiritual knowledge, but nothing helps you through that grieving process. And that's when I committed the next biggest mistake of my life, because I got married. Of course, I told myself that, I'm in love. But what happened was I was looking for emotional dependence. And once again, you see, it was like a deja vu, the same pattern happening, that looking for validation, looking for love, looking for home, looking for acknowledgement, and trying to find it from outside. It didn't work out for me. So when you are asking, so many questions in your life, at a time comes, you are trying to hold on to something bigger than yourself, larger than life, because you are not having faith in your own self. So you want to have faith in something that is larger than you. And in the process of finding that answer, you start going to every workshop, every modality that you start learning. Anybody tells you, go to that master, go to that workshop, I would find myself there. And at one time I realized, oh my God, I've got 20 certifications. Did that help me? Yeah, it gave me the theoretical knowledge, the scientific background behind things. But to integrate it in our life, you have to live it, you have to experience it. And when, my marriage didn't work out, and it was, let's say, the dark night of the soul that I went through a lot of betrayal in professional life and personal life. I took the craziest decision in my life. I just packed my bags and went to the Himalayas. And they say the master appears when the student is ready. And that's what, that was a huge turning point in my life. And I remember sitting in front of my guru and asking him, I don't have a purpose to wake up tomorrow morning, because everybody is living for someone, either for their partner or for their children or for their parent. Who do I live for? I don't have anybody in my life anymore. I don't have parents. I don't have husband. I don't have children. I don't have siblings. Who do I live for? And that's when he told me that the journey to know yourself is the journey alone. I can show you the path, but you have to walk that path alone. And that was like the aha moment right then and there. And that's when I realized that only, our current education system is teaching us so much, but they are not telling you how to handle your difficult emotions when life doesn't work the way you expect. And trust me, that happens so many times in your life, I can guarantee you.
More often than not.
Yeah. And at that time, I was like, you know what? It does not matter even if I have $1 million in my bank. But if my emotional state is that of loneliness and frustration, do I call this a true success? Is my life only about goals and deadlines and objectives? What is the real purpose behind all this? What is the meaning of life? And all these questions started coming to me. And I'm like, I wish when I was a little girl, the day I saw my father, I still remember the day when he walked out and my mother just sat down, holding the stair, the staircase. And I could feel that. And I'm like, I wish somebody would guide me at that time as a little girl, how to handle my emotions, how to use my emotions productively in life, than to get, overwhelmed and swept by the tsunami of frustration and anger and worry and lack of acknowledgement and self-love. And that's when I took all my expertise, all my knowledge, I brought them together and, came up with these simple techniques of emotional mastery that will suit today's requirements, today's time and needs. Because if you want to be, you want to have a great relationship in life, you need to be emotionally fit for it. You want to have great finance management, you need great emotion management. You want to become like a fantastic leader in your organization, you have to understand the emotions of people. Even if you want to have great health, 70 to 75% of oxygenation of your body depends on your emotions. It has been proved that people with higher emotional intelligence, they earn $29,000 annually more than their colleagues with lower emotional intelligence. So this is becoming a crucial life skill now, not just a foundational life skill. In recent study, because we are all logical people, we love analytics and research and data. And this year, the 2021 McKinsey report came out stating that by 2030, for the young generation, it will be emotional skills and not cognitive skills that will help them land the next job or the next promotion. So this is how important emotions are in today's life.
So now, Navana, I'm going to ask you because you've already raised this. We hear the question of emotional intelligence. How is emotional intelligence, mastery, emotional quotient, are they all the same?
Emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, they're part of emotional mastery. Okay, because when we are talking about emotional mastery, we are learning how to understand the hidden messages behind your emotions, how to harness the power of emotions to access empowerment in every area of your life, whether it is relationship, finance, health, spiritual evolvement, self-evolution in every area. Now, I'll give you a very quick example because a lot of people, they always feel we have to feel positive all the time, right? Which is next to impossible because we are humans. It is human to feel emotions, and there is no emotion that is negative or positive. Emotion means energy in motion that is expressed positively or negatively. So every emotion is neutral. We are the ones who are giving a negative or a positive meaning or connotation to that emotion. Very simple example, fear, right? The moment you hear the word fear, you give a negative meaning to it, right? But fear is an emotion that holds a valuable message for you. If you go to the root word of the word fear, it comes from the word feras. Feras means danger. It means that this emotion is trying to tell you that your mind is recognizing a certain situation or a certain person as a potential danger for you. As simple as that.
Now let's talk about anger because fear, TK, we all understand, but anger typically is always associated with being a negative emotion.
Yeah, but again, anger, it always tells you that your boundaries have been violated. Anger has come to you cloaked to give you the gift of protection. Okay. So whenever there is anger coming to you, you have to immediately step back, look at the emotion, label the emotion. See, this is a very simple process. I have put it in a 7-step emotion breakthrough process, in the book. What happens is the moment you see an emotion, first, let's say when you're feeling anger, right? For the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, you are overwhelmed by that emotion. It is human. You cannot differentiate between you and your anger. But a point comes in everybody that you realize, oh, I'm angry. Okay? The moment you have that, you have that awareness that, okay, anger has come to visit me, there is a separation between you and your emotion. And you label it. I am feeling anger right now. The moment you label your emotion hold, it loses the hold on you, right? So the moment you see the anger in a witness stage, you talk to the anger like a friend. Okay, Mr. Anger, so you have come to visit me. What is the message you have for me? And most of the times, anger has the message that your boundary has been violated. It has a message that you need to stand up for yourself. It's a message your brain is telling you that you need to protect yourself.
So now you mentioned this and now you've teased us. So what are these 7 steps?
You
I'm
have
going to get everything out of you.
See, the way I have put it, because you see, Sukirti, a lot of my clients used to come to me asking me, should I go to a healer? Should I go to a therapist? Should I go to a coach? This is the biggest confusion among people because they're all different. The work of a healer, the work of a coach, the work of a mentor, the work of a therapist, they're all different. What I have done in emotional mastery, basically, it's a coaching modality with a healing result, having a therapist foundation. Okay, so all the three have been put together. So what we do here, let's say you have a migraine. When you get a migraine, your head is throbbing so much with this pain that you cannot even focus in your daily chores, right? So what do you do at that time? You take a painkiller, right? So immediately the migraine calms down and now you are okay. You can now focus on the work that you have at hand. But that migraine might be happening because you have a nutritional deficiency within your body. Now, if you're not going to address that nutritional deficiency, which is the core source of the migraine will come back after 1 week, right? So that's the second step of emotional mastery. The first step is the emotions breakthrough 7-step formula, which is like taking a painkiller. Speed shift your emotions, whether you are at work or you are at home, wherever you are, you follow the 7 steps. It is, very simple. It doesn't take you more than 2 to 3 minutes. Just follow the steps that are given in the book and you speed shift.
So what's step number 1?
Step number 1 is you have to do a quick body scan. When you do
what we did.
Yeah, because your body, your emotions speak through your body. You will always find, for example, even the way we speak, my heart sank when I heard the news, right? I had it was a wrenching gut feeling. You are always involving your organs within your language only. So every emotion has a storehouse within the body. For example, we talked about anger. The organ that houses the anger is the liver and gallbladder. That's where our anger stays. Now, those who are, for example, having liver issues in life, you will find that they will also have anger management issues. Fear resides in our kidneys. There's a lot of unconscious fear of the unknown. What's going to happen next? Those who are living in that moment by moment, they will develop kidney issues in the future. Thyroid, a lot of us, especially women, we to maintain peace in the house, we prefer not to speak up. We are like gulping down our emotions all the time. What happens after a couple of years? Thyroid. And this is directly related to your reproductive system as well. So it affects your uterus and ovaries over time as well. Then if you're looking at panic, that resides in the heart. Worry, too much of worry, that resides in the pancreas and the spleen. Unable to enjoy the joys of life, little joy of life, end up in diabetes. So all the organs, every organ in our body is a storehouse of a certain emotion. So the moment you scan through your body, you take a special note, which part of the body the muscles are clenched, or perhaps there is a tight sensation, there is a heaviness in your heart, in your chest, in your abdomen, in your hips. And from there, you connect to the emotion. And you will find, for example, if it's liver, you know immediately that it's an anger issue. You talk to the emotion. The moment you label and name your emotion, hello, you are Mr. Anger, you are Mr. Fear who is visiting me, the emotion, they lose the hold on you.
But
And
Navana,
that's
let's go
when,
back one step because it's very hard when you're in that emotional state. How do you get yourself to say, okay, now I need to do a body scan, you know?
yeah, it comes with practice. It's like, you don't go to a gym one day and then the next morning you look at the mirror, you're like, oh, my muscles are still the same, I'm not going to do it again. Gym doesn't work. Gym works. You have to go there every day. So this is also a matter of practice. In the beginning, it will perhaps take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes before you recognize your emotion and you separate yourself from it. But with practice, after 1 week, you will see that instead of 5 minutes, now it's taking you 3 minutes. The time will shorten. Plus, I have given some quick exercises as well to change, to shift your emotions, because emotions are what again? Energy in motion. So the moment you're feeling one emotion, fear or anger or depression or worry, what is happening? The energy flows in some part of the body is getting stuck. The moment we again restart the energy flow, the emotion shifts automatically. So one of the easiest way that I tell people is to tap this point below the collarbone. Yeah, exactly. This point, this is the K27 point, the kidney meridian point we talk about, because our body has 13 meridians through which the energies are flowing, the emotions are flowing through these meridians. And all the 13 meridians intersect at this point. So, even like what happens is whenever you are feeling tired, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, what you do is tap this point. What happens when you are tapping this point? You are absorbing the pranas from the atmosphere around you. Because whenever you are feeling anger or depression or fear, your pranas are going down. The moment you shift, you start tapping, you start absorbing the pranas. And the more your pranas are getting elevated, the frequency of your emotions will also get elevated. And there will be a speed shift. So I have actually listed a couple of tapping points in the book that you can practice. Like, for example, this is the tapping point for fear or resistance to change. Just tap this point for a minute and you will immediately feel a shift.
So after you've scanned and you've understood the emotion, is that when you start tapping or?
Yes. You scan your body, you acknowledge the emotion. And
That's okay. The second is acknowledge it and say, okay.
Yes, I see you, I hear you. Don't resist it, don't push it, because what you resist persists. You don't want to pick up a fight with the emotion. You're like, I see you, I hear you, as if it's your best friend. Because you always remember, emotions are like gifts to you. They have come to you to give you a message. So I'm like, I hear you are here to give me a message. I get it. And tap. The tapping points are there. So that's the first step. Once you have calmed down, then we go to the second step, the
So this
source
is
code.
just to get us to a calm state right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now your migraine has calmed, you have taken the painkiller. Now you need to go to a doctor and find out what is causing that migraine so that it doesn't repeat itself. Because I believe you have to go to the manufacturing unit so that the same defect products don't keep on coming. So that is where in the second stage, I have talked about the inner child. That comes to 0 to 7 years. Because what we go through 0 to 7 years as a child, that affects 80% of your adult life thoughts. That's a huge percentage. And that starts when you are in your mother's womb. And I'll give you a simple example. Sometimes when I tell my clients that you need to have a inner child session, and they're like, oh, my childhood has been fine. I'm like, you have no clue. So a simple example, one lady had come to me, right? And
But before we go into that, I want to ask you, how do we know that? Because a lot of people do say everything that happens in your life, I mean, literally by 0 to 7, how much you learn, everything. It's like 80%. How do we know this? Because I mean, I'm the person that says I want the facts and the figures.
yes, this is very important, which is why we need to go to our subconscious mind, which is in autopilot, because these things are autopilot. With your conscious mind, we will be not able to know, what is the reason. Because obviously you don't remember what happened to you in a conscious mind during your, when you were inside your mother's womb. So there are some simple processes that I've given in the book, but at this stage, if it's a chronic issue, you do need a coach or a therapist, a facilitator to help you. Okay, this is where you need to have a session. Now, once you have gone to the manufacturing unit, the root cause, and you have healed from there, comes the third stage, which is the energy diet, which is the most interesting one. Because let's say now you find out that your migraine is due to a vitamin D deficiency. You are taking the vitamin D tablets, deficiency is gone. But if you go back to having junk and drink Coke every day, then it's not going to work. You have to take accountability for yourself. And this is where comes in energy diet, to maintain that state of peak emotions, to be in that flow state. Now, every food, for example, that we consume, it has intelligence, it has a spiritual quality. So this is where I call mindful eating or conscious eating. For example, when we take beetroot heals a lot of ancestral traumas. These are all ancient science. In our country, only Paramahansa Yogananda ji had talked a lot about it. For example, when we want joy in our life, we include more cherries in our diet. When people are resistant to change, especially during the COVID times, I asked everybody have more papaya. Papaya helps you to transcend the resistance to change. So I have also, made a list of some common food that we take on a daily basis. Apple gives you discipline in life. So the quality that you want to cultivate in your life, you consciously consume those food. And it's not just food, there is a lot more than food.
Sashi is asking, what does mango help with?
Mango helps you to bring in a lot more cheerfulness and joy in life.
So other than food, what else then helps in this diet that we should be adding? So
See,
one is that we
I have talked about, all the elements, because our body is made up of all the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And not just our bodies, our emotions are also influenced by the elements. Now, we all have all the 5 elements, but 1 or 2 elements are more predominant for each one of us. So there are, a couple of questionnaires that you can go through to find out which element that you belong to. And accordingly, you have to balance the different elements in your body to balance the different emotions in your body.
So give us an example so we can understand
The
it
food we
better.
talked about, definitely food comes from the earth. It works with the earth element. Then there is water, there is air element, there is space element. So all these different things that you have to work on.
So finally, after this, you'll be able to master your emotions.
Yes. It is not just, you need consistency, you need discipline, but it's also a fun process. Because it lets you to know a lot about your own self as well.
But a lot of times we only focus on the first step. Like first step is what we have heard about and possibly about the second step, right? So we have not really gone to the fact of saying, okay, so because I think a lot of us are still stuck at the first step of saying, okay, how do I even just manage my emotion? So I want to go back to step number two, because I think that one is also that when you said that we have to go back and understand our inner child. Are
Yes.
there some simple tips you said that people can say, okay, I do know now, I need to go
Yeah.
to
See,
somebody?
the moment we are aware, 50% of healing is already done. The problem is when we don't know that we have a problem, right? So the moment there are a couple of questions that I've given in my book as well on the inner child. When you go through it, you answer them. There is a questionnaire for how emotionally fit you are as well. And it's fun to do these exercises. And when you go through that and you answer that, you're already aware of it, 50% of the healing is already done.
So Rumi is asking, what is the Tridosha concept of Ayurveda, Kapha, Vita, and Pitta?
Well, definitely, you would need a specialist in Ayurveda to come and talk about that. But it again, yeah, it does work with a lot with the elements as well. Because we know it has to do with the fire, the pitta, the vata, the air, the kapha, the water element. So yes, somewhere it is linked as well.
Are there some other tips that you would like to
See,
share
because
with us?
for example, the moment you are talking about, for example, pitta is the fire element we are talking about, right? So the more fire element we have in the body unbalanced, if it is too high, fire element again resides where? In the liver, in the gallbladder, anger issues. So the more, for example, you have kapha, the water element goes imbalanced, fear, kidneys. So they are somewhere always linked. One influences the other and vice versa. So the moment you're balancing the elements, you're balancing your emotions. And at the same time, it is vice versa. When you're working on your emotions, you're balancing the elements.
Is this something like people, too much happiness, or like what you said, we always expect to be happy or peaceful?
There cannot be too much happiness. There can be too much pleasure. A lot of people confuse pleasure with happiness. So there cannot be too much happiness.
And any other tips that you would like to share with the people in terms of meditation or other techniques that they can use?
See, meditation always plays a very important role for your emotions. But at the same time, I would like to say over here, because nowadays there is a lot of wrong information as well when it comes to meditation. And for example, I have heard, somebody even tell me that I meditate when I drive. I'm like, please don't do that. I meditate when I shower. Okay. So to understand what is meditation, we also have to understand what is not meditation. Meditation is not relaxation. Meditation is not visualization. Meditation is not hypnosis. Meditation is not concentration or focus. Meditation is not an action. So the moment I say I meditate, verb, an action, it cannot be. Meditation is a state to be in. There are different actions and different modalities to reach that state. So there comes relaxation, visualization, chanting. These are all different modalities because one size doesn't fit all. And when people say, oh, you are worried, you are anxious, meditate. No, when you are worried, when you are anxious, sort out your life. If there is a problem in your finances, if there is a problem in your relationship, sort it out. Meditation will happen naturally after that. Okay, because when we look into the Patanjali yoga system, dhyan is in the 7th stage. There is yam, niyam, asana. There are a lot more stages before that. Now, in today's time, everybody wants to jump. to the highest branch instead of going to the first branches. It's like saying, I want to learn medicine without learning ABC. So there is no rush, there is no hurry, there is all the time. Everybody is in the right pace, in the right place in their life. It's a journey for all of us. No, there is no competition who is going faster than the other. So take your time, sort out your life, and then move into meditation. It will happen naturally.
So, Navana, 3 questions. So, first, of course, you've got to give us that general diet for emotional balance. We're not letting you go until you do that. And the second question, let's suppose, because this is the one that all of us have trouble dealing with, anger. When something happens, I know I keep coming back to this.
Don't have non-veg. Don't have non-veg when you are too much having anger and fear issues and worry issues.
No, but we just don't know how to control. How do we control the reaction to another person? Because that is sometimes what we have the most difficulty dealing with. The second is when you're saying sort out your issues. How do we get to that stage where we're able to even process and deal with our emotion?
Well, first question, you said, how do I react? The first thing is respond, do not react. It's a deep spiritual understanding that we need to have. This is called Gyan Yoga that we have.
And where is it in the spectrum?
So a lot of principles of emotional mastery has been taken from Gyan Yoga as well, to be in the witness state. That is Gyan Yoga. But as I said, as for today's needs and times, I've made the language simple. But the teachings comes from the ancient traditions only. So don't react, respond to the situation. So once again, the moment you have to know what your trigger points are. So the moment again, I will tell you, go through the book, find out which element you are. Okay, either you're a fire personality or a water personality or an earth personality. Okay, if you are an earth personality, now what happens to the earth personality? Your main emotions will be that of worry. Okay, so your trigger point is worry. Know what your trigger point is. Know your own self first before you try to know anybody else or the outside situation. If I know, for example, I know I'm a water personality. So my trigger point is fear, unknown fear, most of the time. So in any situation, the first thing that will trigger in me the emotion would be that of fear. You see, there is one incident that happens. Everybody reacts and responds in a different way to the same incident. For example, when the 2011 attack happened, right? Some people got angry. Some people got totally depressed. That so many people got affected, they died, they went into depression. Some people went into worry and anxiety. Oh, what's going to happen in the future? What about the stock market? What about my future? What about my children's future? What will happen to the business? Some people went into fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen to the world? The terrorists have attacked. Now what? Everybody reacted and responded in a different emotion in the same incident. Why? Those emotions are not coming from outside. They are within you only. All it needed is an outside trigger and it came out. So what is your trigger point? The moment you know what your trigger point is, you are aware. So whenever a situation happens in front of you, you are aware of your trigger point. What you do, immediately you pause, step back.
That's the hardest.
You have to do it. Practice. Leave the room. And you will see that if you can wait 24 hours, after 24 hours, a lot of the issues that seem so huge, they seem like nothing at all. You wouldn't even want to respond anymore. This is a practice to step back. Always. Be in a witness state. It's a deep spiritual understanding that these emotions, it is just passing. None of them is permanent. It's transient. One emotion will pass, Again, the next one will come in. Again, the next one will come in. To watch. It's a dance of emotion you are watching. It's so beautiful. Just watch them. Take it like a movie and watch.
Oh, now I'm going to come back to the question because we're getting this. What is the generic diet to get the balance?
Well,
One that all of us can take every day. So we know we have to have apples, or is it very specific depending
see,
on
depending what emotion you want to cultivate, there is a definite different
happiness?
diet.
That is the emotion that we probably all want to cultivate. So what is the diet for that? To have more happiness, to have more peace.
So what I would say, for example, as you said, happiness means what? A lot of pranas. You should be, your mental body, your causal body, your physical body, your emotional body should be brimming with pranas. And for that, I would suggest take chlorella every day, either in tablet form or in the juice form, because chlorella helps your cells to retain more light energy. And that's a tip for happiness.
Great. And now for peacefulness.
By the way, if, for example, if you want to have, even not just with food, with water, you can do it. Peacefulness and patience. I think this would be great for all the audience today, because to cultivate the resistance towards difficult situations, the resilience towards difficult people and difficult situations, because we are, exposed to so many different kinds of energies and people throughout the day, absorbing their energies. And by the end of the day, we feel drained out. So for that, I will, suggest everybody to take clove water, because clove, the bud takes 20 years to flowers. And that gives you the quality of patience and handle difficult people, difficult emotions, difficult situations.
Wow.
So
And
even in
now,
the morning, if you're making, we make masala chai with clove in it. It's amazing.
and how much do you have to have of it? Like when you say clove, or if you say chlorella, just one tablet, or
Yeah, that's enough. Because, every cell has the hologram of the entire universe in it.
and now I'm going to ask the more difficult ones. Depression or sadness. Is there anything for that?
See, depression is a very chronic issue. So when it comes to depression, it is better, because this is something, repressed emotion over a very long period of time. So in cases of depression, I would say that please do take, reach out to a therapist for a personal session, because there can be many causes, many factors.
And sadness?
Be happy.
So take the happiness pill, which is the chlorella.
See, as I said, the moment you your own frequency goes up, the frequency of your emotions will also grow up, and your power of manifestation will also increase. Why? Because see, anything that you want to attract in life, whether it is money, a job, a person, everything is vibrating in a certain frequency. To attract that in your life, either you have to be at par with that frequency or vibrate at a higher frequency. So what I will say to everyone, increase your frequency. If you increase your frequency, all this happiness, joy, passion, cheerfulness, peace, calm, they will come, they will happen naturally for you.
And A. Sharma is asking, please tell us, take one element and explain everything. Like you talked about water, fire. I don't know if we have enough time to do that.
Oh, take one element and explain everything. how do we explain everything? Because it takes a lifetime of research. But yes, as I said, for example, worry that comes from for the earth element people. And worry normally resides in pancreas and in spleen. And the earth element people, you see how earth doesn't move. They're solid, right? They have a lot of stability. So the earth element people also, there is a lot of stability in them, but they will also need a push to do something in life. They're great meditators. They can sit in one place for 12, if there is a competition to sit in one place for 24 hours, they will sit there without moving. That's how earth element is. And that's why they need a push to exercise as well. They can gain weight very easily. Water element. Water, the main emotion is fear, and it resides in the kidneys. And kidneys, life is very difficult for them because it just doesn't hold their personal fears, but also ancestral fears across generations. So for no reason, they're very easily triggered by what's going to happen in the future. Unknown fear. They might have issues with sweat glands. They might sweat too easily. Their palms or, under the feet, might be sweaty because imbalance of water. Again, unknown fear. You see your palms getting sweaty if you're too nervous, fearful. Water always moves. If you hold the water in one place for too long, what happens? It stinks. So these people also need to be moving in their life. They are great travelers. They may not be living in one place for too long. They are very creative people. Water people are, they will see something. They will go to a dance show. They will not just have the pleasure of the show, but they will see the details of every move of the hand, go deep into it. They want to find deep meaning in everything. So they're great, writers, authors, poets, artists. That's water element. They're highly emotional. Water always signifies emotion. So they might even read something on Facebook that 500,000 people are hugging each other, and they will start crying that, oh my God, nobody's hugging me. That's water element. Fire. Fire is, fire element. The main issue is that of also panic. And it's in the heart. And these people, fire, they love pleasure. You know how fire personalities are. Whenever they enter, they will be at the center of the stage. There's some people, you go to a party, they take over the entire party. Everybody is, surrounding them and listening to them. They're typical fire personalities. So they're great stage personalities. They're great performers. They can be great, anything that to do with the entertainment industry. They love pleasure in life. So they might talk to you with a lot of enthusiasm and fire personality, and you are like, wow, I found the best friend in my life. And the next moment they are not there because they go where pleasure is. So that's fire personality. Then comes, the air. The air has to do with the mind, the thoughts. Okay, so their mind is always working. They're constantly thinking. And they like to be aloof, the air element. They don't, you see, air is not even tangible. You can't even touch it. So they, most of the spiritual seekers, they're in the air element. So yeah, in short, it's very interesting to find out about your personality type.
I know we're running out of time. Any last tips you'd like to share with us as we end for today? I know it's very, very interesting, and we want to get into it. We want to know the diet. We want to know the meditation. We want to know everything.
See, I want to say something that it's difficult to talk about emotions, but it is very important. And in our society, there always has been for generation a negative connotation has been associated with emotion, that, oh, you are too emotional, as if that's something bad. You are not encouraged to talk about your emotions when you are growing up in your family. Even at work, you are not supposed to be emotional. Even, we have been taught that, take your decisions from your head, be logical, don't be emotional. But you know what? The basis of reasoning depends on emotion. And I will tell you why. There has been research by the neuroscientist Antonio Damasio, and he researched on people who the emotional center of their brain were damaged. And such people could not even take a simple decision whether to have chicken or fish for dinner. So the basis of logic also depends on our emotions. So those who are saying, I'm a logical person, I don't believe in emotions, this is for them. So work with your emotions. It is fun. Feel your emotions, work with your emotions, and learn how to use your emotions in a productive way, how to channel your emotions.
Can you give us one tip on that? Because that we did not talk about, how to channel our emotions in a positive way before we end for today.
Yeah. For example, when we talk about anger, we talked about anger in the beginning, right? That anger can cause a lot of collateral damage. But when anger is channeled in the positive way, anger converts into passion. So whenever you are feeling angry, I have given some exercises in the book for anger. Do those exercises and use your anger to, for example, if you're into art, paint your emotions. Take the colors of anger and paint. Write your emotions. Creatively express it. Pick up a cause where, a social cause, where you can channel your anger into something productive, beneficial for other people. You feel injustice is happening to you, pick up a cause of injustice and channel your anger into passion, into the cause of injustice. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Very much so. But thank you so much. We're getting some amazing comments. How can we reach you? Enriching thoughts. That's the key. So grateful. Thanks, Sukirti. I will say thanks, Navana. Yes, absolutely. Yes, definitely. So thank you, Navana, for sharing with us all of this.
Thank you. My book, Emotional Mastery Toolkit of Success, is still available on Amazon. So you can go to Amazon and get your Kindle version or your paperback version from there. I am available on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn for online sessions, as well as I keep going back and forth between India and Dubai. Those who are in Dubai can contact me directly in Dubai, or when I'm going to India, they can contact me in India as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody had a fun time. Would like to understand before we leave, what's the emotion you're feeling right now? So please do a quick body scan and tell us.
Yes.
So as we end for
What is the
today,
emotion are you feeling, Sukirti, right now?
I'm feeling happy. But I need to do the body scan. I haven't actually scanned. A. Sharma says relieved. Dr. Vandana says curious and happy. Akshada says grateful. Pasnani says encourage. So great to hear everybody. Sujata says feeling motivated.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on today's journey.